Y'all see my shirt? Love it. Love it. Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Alexis Jayda and welcome. Today's notification shout out goes to Big Mama. I love you so much. Thank you so much for your support and your love. Te quiero mucho. If you want to be part of the notification squad, all you have to do is just like the video, hit subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And your comment could possibly be the next notification shout out. All right, loves, we are back. Boom, boom. Chicka bicky 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 bing. Bing, chicka bing, chicka bicky bicky bing. I was already getting a little sleepy. I think because I can't be in here with the heater on because it takes up all the oxygen. I had to let the door open a little bit and like get some oxygen in here because I was like, y'all see my shirt? Yeah, love it. All right, loves, sit back, relax, and let me know what you guys are doing. If you guys are cooking, if you guys are cleaning, if you guys are working, if you guys are working out, if you guys are just chilling, if you guys are driving, I would love to know down below. So let's get into today's story time. We left off. Munchkin tells me, hey, I need some assistance. I go give you some assistance. He said, it's your phone. I said, how did you have it? He said, my daddy had it. Cool. I hide it because I don't want to get Munchkin in trouble. Munchkin, he was very like, I don't know, that little boy smart, okay? Smart. Because when I told him why your daddy have it, he said, what? What phone? Huh? What are you talking about? I know you're not talking to me. Okay, so I walk out. My phone starts to ring. And that's where we left off. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it right now. Oh, let me show you guys what I got real quick, okay? Look. I got this from Huda Beauty, you guys. I'm so excited to use this today. It's what inspired today's makeup look. So we're going to be going purple lavender. You guys, look at this. Oh my gosh. Look at them, you guys. I cannot wait. He sent me my favorite peach pie. I'm excited to try this one. Oh my goodness. The blush I'm excited about. Where's the lip gloss? The lip gloss. And this one is my fave. This is strawberry cream. Yeah, strawberry cream. Got some cute powder puffs. Also, you guys, Morphe reached out to me and they sent me their whole new brush collection. Cute freaking bag, and then it has all the brushes in here. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, this is so cool. So freaking cool. So I'm gonna be using these brushes and they feel so freaking soft, you guys. I'm so excited. 34 new brushes. This is so cool, you guys. This is so cool. Like, honestly, like, oh my gosh, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for y'all. And I just want to say thank you so much. Okay, so I just want to show you guys that. So let's get into today's story time. So I started to get a little paranoid because the phone loud. Okay, it instantly starts ringing. Mr. Peach looks at me like he just wants to like, okay. Baltimore comes around. She's like, I thought you said you couldn't find your phone. My heart is just going doom, 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 doom. Sam's coming down the stairs and she has her phone and she's like, why are you bugging if you have your phone? And I'm just like, it felt like it was taking such a long time for everything to register. But I just kept locking eyes with Mr. Peach. And he didn't even say anything. He wasn't like, oh, I thought you didn't have your phone. I thought this, I thought that. But remember, because Munchkin was like, he has your phone. So I'm just like frozen, like just locked eyes with him. He's not even moving. He's not even blinking. He's just like pissed. And I know he's pissed. I know he wanted to beat my ass right then and there. Okay. I hear the toilet flush and I'm like, huh? To Baltimore. She's like, why were you complaining that someone stole your phone if you had it? Why are you trying to cause drama? And I just kept looking at him as I was answering her. And I was like, I don't know. I guess I just forgot that I had it. Like that. Like a little psycho. She goes, Alexis, no cierto. Why? Like, tell me lies. Like, Alexis, why? And I was like, huh? And Sam's like, oh my God. I don't know what you took. I don't know if that's all that money that you took. She's like, but you've been acting crazy. And I was like, really? Says the one who doesn't want me to leave because you don't feel safe. You don't feel comfortable. Mr. Peach goes, what? Oh my, why are you saying these things? So now he stops looking at me. I'm like, I gotta go. So I'm already like heading towards the door. As I'm walking towards the door, he grabs my hand. He tells me, we need to talk. And I said, ¿Cuándo? Right now or later? Later. I'm like, okay. So I'll walk outside and I'm just like, ooh, like I have to shake because I just feel weird. Like, what the heck? Like, he really had it. Like, I wanted to maybe, part of me, give him the benefit of the doubt and be like, no, like Munchkin's tripping. Like, I wanted to like not want to believe it. Like, maybe Munchkin just seen it in the room. And just the way that Baltimore reacted, I was like, yeah, she innocent. Like though her reaction, everything was just like, what? Like, even she was like, what are you on? Like, it was just too raw. So I'm walking towards Spice and Spice is like, come on. And I'm just like, let me just run something by you real quick. She's like, what? So we start talking about the whole situation. She's like, that's so weird. That's so weird. Maybe he was just trying to see if you were talking about him, what you were doing on your phone that late. I was like, it doesn't matter if I'm on my phone like butt cracking on. Like, he's not my parent. Like, he's not. So I'm like trying to explain to her, and sometimes it felt like they were understanding what I was saying, and then other times it just felt like, okay, I was just reading too much into it. And I chalked it up as, it's because like I'm not their problem. They didn't want to hear it, you know, like they had a lot going on that day. Obviously it was something important if they needed me to babysit the kids, and they just were just like, you know what, Alexis, at the end of the day, it don't matter because you're still going to be there. You're still going to be there. You're in this messed up situation. It's one of those things like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And honestly, it is like, what you gonna do? Nothing. You're just like, I just wanna complain, you know? And so I had to like understand where no one's gonna have the reaction that like I'm going to. And maybe sometimes I do be overreacting when someone around me or someone in my circle is hurt. I always feel like I have to go above and beyond because I hear you, you're heard, and I'm gonna make sure that you leave here satisfied. You know what I mean? And I always wanted that. I always felt myself feeling like no one is 10 toes down for me. Okay, I had my moments with Skillet, I had my moments with all that, you know, but I mean like a solid, like they didn't do me grimy in any sort of way. You know what I mean? Like I just like, I wanted that. I craved that so much. And not until like recently, last year, just kidding, that I really had a lot of maturing to do and had to understand like it's okay that you don't have that. It's fine as long as like I know that like I can do that. I can speak for myself and be my own 10 toes down. I'm good. I always felt like I needed to like maybe lean on someone for that, or I wanted to feel like, okay, it's not just my own backbone that got me, it's somebody next to me, you know? It kind of messes you up because you're like, damn, like when can I like rest? Like when can I just chill? Like when does someone really have me like that to the fullest, you know? You just have to come to this point and be like, it's okay. Even with friendships, like it's okay. You don't gotta have a bestie for life, you know. Not everyone is blessed to have that, and if they are blessed, that is amazing. I love that for you. I honestly love that for you. But I feel like, no, like I need this, like no, I need this, and I would even like force friendships, or I would even like, you know, do like the most, or like let people walk over me and stuff like that. And I would even fight with some FAMBAM that would tell me like, Jade, you don't need a best friend. And I'd be like, yes I do, yes I do. And it literally took a long time, many conversations with you guys, many conversations even with my husband, where I was like, no, like I want a best friend. And he'd be like, babe, like, it's fine if you don't. And I'd be like, okay, just because you don't like people, it doesn't mean I don't like people. And it just took a lot to like, you know, you live and you grow. When talking to Spice, I remember having that moment of just like, ain't nobody give about me, like nobody. But in reality, it was just like, first, time and place, you're not gonna go anywhere. It was deep, but like little Lex had it, you know what I mean? It was just like, it'll be all right, you'll be all right. And I had to think about it too, like, okay, if they are gonna pop off, they are gonna get crazy, then what? Then what you gonna do? You know what I mean? And it's just like, you can't have both. You can't have pop off and want a reaction and then everything be like kumbaya. It can't. It's just, it's hard, you know. It's really, really hard because I'd be like, oh, but I would, and I would be fight. Okay, you fight with everybody, and then what? You're not invited to parties. You're not invited to the kick it. You're not invited to, like, you know, people look at you like, damn, she all be popping off. There's a consequence to that type of like pipe off, you know. And if you're like, that's fine, that's just listen to what I'm saying. But yeah, I just remember being like, just like annoyed, Like, okay. What are the odds that I picked the 333? So I just stayed quiet and I was just like, all right. Tommy chimes in and she said, I don't know, did you stop taking those pictures that I already told you from last time? And you know what? I didn't. And I was like, no, I didn't. She's like, I'm not saying that's why he grabbed your phone, but men are nasty. And I don't know what you want me to do about it. And I'm just sitting there quiet and I'm just like, okay. Because I go back to that, like, and what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Nothing. You know? So I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, okay. Tommy and I go to Walmart. We pick out some snacks and I'm like, damn, like, how long are you gonna be? She said till 2. And I was like, oh, okay. I had totally forgot we have to leave at 3. But she said just at 2. And I was like, oh, okay. Just to get something for me to, like, that's easy to cook. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Shouldn't be that hassle. I'm like, okay, cool. We go to the apartment. The kids, being kids. Tommy leaves. I feed them. It's cool. You know, we're just having like a little, like, chill little kickback. The ex starts to text me. He asks me, like, what am I doing? I'm telling him I'm babysit. He says, can he pull through? I'm like, no. During this whole time, you guys, I am healing. Okay, I'm healing. I know I don't go that much into it, but I'm healing. I'm aching. I'm hurting, and it's a lot. Okay, so part of that, I feel like that's why I was going kind of like is because everything was just like setting me off, and I was just going through so many changes, and I was just like, like I feel like does nobody care? You know, I wanted like a poor me moment, you know, where I was just like, dang, like this is something serious, but it's whatever, because it's just like, all right, like the day still has to continue, you know, we can't just mope around it. Like the day still has to continue, Jade. So he's telling me like, let me see you, and I'm like, no, I'm still healing, blah blah blah, do you not love me? It was such a toxic thing that I wish I could get people to understand, but I feel like when I'm doing that, I'm trying to excuse the behavior. But I hope you guys know that I'm not. I'm just trying to get you guys to understand how toxic this connection was, and I'm so glad that I never loved like that again, because it was just like, jump, okay, how high? It was just so terrible how I really felt like it was life or death. Like I really was like on some stupid where it was just like, take my heart out and eat it, and like, you know, as long as you can live, I'm cool with that type. And it just made me so freaking mad. And it sucks because during the time you get that hit of like rush, like, oh my god, they're paying attention to you, oh my gosh, they love me, blah, 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 but they literally treat you and walk you like a dog, you know what I mean? So I'm telling him like, no. He's telling me like, come on, like I just want to see you, then I just want to like put my hands on you, like I just want to see you. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I can't chance it, but I don't want to make him mad by telling him no. Like I hate that I couldn't just be like, no. I envy the girls who could just be like, and it be respected. I was just like, damn, like how is it to carry that type of power of just saying no? And you know what? Everyone has that power. It's just so hidden deep inside us, you know what I mean? And we're such like huge people pleasers, and we need to stop. Because as soon as we start pulling that power out, whoo, it's beautiful. Okay, it is beautiful. It might be terrifying at first because you're not used to it and you're kind of like, oh, this is new. Just practice it, okay? So we're gonna go back and forth, and eventually he comes through. Okay, I know. Tommy told me, hey, I don't want no visitors, no funny stuff, no nothing. You hear me? And I said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it sucks because like, oh, I just get so mad. I know some FAMBAM are gonna excuse it, but no, don't. No, because I knew better. But I constantly was just like rolling the dice for this dude, like constantly, and I don't understand it. Like I don't. Like when I look back, I just get so mad because I'm just like, why? Like why? Like why? And for a moment I wanted to blame my mom, like it's your fault because you didn't have me at home with you. It's your fault. But no, like it's my fault. It's my fault. Because I knew. I was so quick to call it out for others, but like, no, you too, Jade. No, you too. You too. See Jade. She's over here like doing the most with her yelling. Tommy had left. She gave me a whole speech. She kept checking in like every 30 minutes to like an hour. Kids were good. Kids were chilling, okay? They were like on their best behavior. Okay, cool. And you know, like, oh, can we do this? Yes. Oh, can I do that? Yes. Key comes by and Key's just right there by the steps. He tries to come inside and I'm like, no, like you can't. And I had the door open. I'm like checking in on the kids, like talking to him, you know, like smoking. all that, and he keeps like trying to come in. I'm like in between his like, you know, his legs, and we're like talking, and he's like asking me like, oh, how are you doing, like doing the most that he can to like butter me up, the names, all that. And I'm just like melting right there, a puddle if you will. I'm just like falling into it. The kids are chilling, the kids are just like, you know, watching the show, and I let him use the restroom because he needs to go restroom. He needed some assistance. I know. I was in literal tears because how painful this was. In tears. Even when I was like, hey, like I can't. Oh, instantly the mask fell off, and he was infuriated of like, oh, how are you just going to leave it like that? Like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe you. This is what I get for coming and seeing you. And I'm like, sorry, like I literally can't. Midway washing his hands, I'm like, turn out the water, right? And he gets like really upset. He storms out like the little kid that he is. Storms out. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like we can't even talk. And he's like, talk about what? Like we already talked. Like what do you, like what? Okay, start talking. What do you want to talk about? And I'm just like, one of the little babies is like, oh, hi to him. And he's like, I'm like, don't look at her like that. He gets even more mad. He starts to storm out. And I'm sitting right there by the door holding it open, and I'm like, hey, like come back here, like I'm not done talking to you. And he's like, no, how are you going to check me for saying anything to that baby? Like I don't even know that baby. So you like that baby more than me? And y'all, that sounds so stupid, right? It sounds so funny hearing that. Like what? Like he really said that? Yes. Like the jealousy was so fucking stupid. Like what are you talking about? Like any of the babies that I ever babysat and he got to me, he was so mean to them. One baby in particular, I remember him being so mean to him. I remember just being disgusted and getting up and like, oh, I was so mad how he was, because how dare you be like that to a pure innocent soul? Like you are disgusting. Like I was, I remember just like hugging the baby, kissing the baby, because I was just trying to take away any ojo that he probably gave in the baby, because it was just like so gross. Like the jealousy that you could feel with a child towards a child like that is disgusting. And he was so dead serious. Like I remember laughing a couple of times, like you're kidding, right? And it was like this look that they have in their eyes of like, oh no, you're not kidding. And it becomes like almost like scary, because you're just like you can't believe someone can have that type of reaction towards a child. And so I'm like, what? You know, telling him, and I was like, what? You sound crazy. So I start saying that. He gets irritated, comes back up the stairs, and he's like, what? I sound what? So he starts getting mad, and I'm like, yeah, like what are you talking about? And so I'm like having to explain, but in a calm tone, because I don't want it to escalate. Having to do that is so freaking annoying, and it literally infuriates me that you can sometimes catch yourself bitching down. I say that because my mom calls it bitching down. You can literally catch yourself changing your tone, trying to like, oh, it's okay, no, like what I meant, like, and soften your voice. I hate that. I hate that. Like I have to make myself más chiquito because you might pop off and you might hurt me, and it's so serious. It is so serious when it gets to that level, and it's freaking terrifying. Like no one can, and you know, you might get people like, oh well, I would have done this, I would have done that, coulda, shoulda, woulda. But when you're in that situation, you never know how that person might react and how they can just flip. You never know. You just never know. So I'm like trying to talk to him, calm him down. I'm like, whoa, like why are you getting so upset? And it kind of almost comes off like you're trying to like antagonize the person, like you're crazy, you know. So you got to play it just right, because you got to be careful, because it is a very serious game, and I don't think many understand how terrifying it can be and how toxic it could be, because he could flip out and he could just like come in the house and like hurt the kids, and that's on me, because I brought him here. So I'm like trying to calm him down about the situation. I have sangre. I have a cut now that is like hurting, if you guys know what I mean, you know, cramping, trying to like talk to him at the same time and like just de-escalate the situation, because I don't want him to leave upset. I don't want to leave him, you know, to leave here mad. And I'm just like pissed off, because I'm like, why? Like, why did you call him and like have him come over? Like, what is wrong with you? So like all these feelings, all these emotions, and I'm just like so upset because like why can't I just like be okay with just like letting him go and like it just be that like just it's okay just to be alone. It's okay. Like I just like I just wanted it to not be with him so bad, but I wanted him so bad. Like it was so toxic and disgusting, and it like infuriated me because I'm just like, it's my fault. Like I'm doing it to myself. Like it's, you can't be like, oh, poor you, when you literally are doing it to yourself. You keep touching the stove, you dumb bitch. You know what I mean? So it really was just like so annoying, and I think he could see that I was like so frustrated trying to like calm him down, but like he wouldn't let up. He was still like, no, like why did you tell me anything? Like why did you tell me anything? I was like, I don't know, like I'm sorry, I just don't talk to her like that. And I needed to stand my ground on that because I never wanted him to think that was okay, even if it caused fights, even if it caused us like, you know, and even if it caused him like saying the rudest things to me. I needed him to understand like this will never be okay. And that might sound crazy because it's like, oh really, but he did X, Y, and Z. Yeah, all that stuff. But when it comes to the kids, don't ever dance on that line, like ever. Like I need you to understand it. Even though he kept trying to dance on it throughout our relationship, when I had to babysit or be around the babies or even his own nephews and nieces, I need you to understand like it's never gonna be okay with me, ever. That would cause so many arguments because he wanted me to give him that of like, no, you're right. And I would know you're right about so much other shit. It wasn't my fault. Or like, you know, him talking to somebody or him having hickeys from somebody else. Like, no, you're right. Like, it's my fault. It's my fault for making you do this. It's my fault, but no, when it came to the kids, like that was just like my line right there. Like, no, 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 no. Like, this isn't okay. It's never going to be okay. And I'm never going to give you that like one-off of like, oh no, that's okay, because you are going to overplay that until it's retired. Like, no, 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 no. So I start to shower him by compliments and trying to de-escalate the situation even more because I literally don't want him to leave here upset. And if I'm being truly honest, little Lex did not want him to leave here and go to Maria or go to somebody else. I wanted him to leave here happy and being like, yeah, that's my girl. I know. Eventually, like, I want to say 30-40 minutes pass by of me literally kissing ass. Then it's okay. Then it's like, oh, okay. And I got the phone call from Tommy, so I was really like relieved because it was just like, dang, he literally had me out here. No, I had myself out there. Okay, accountability, Jade. You literally had yourself out there kissing culon because like I was so scared. I was so freaking terrified of him just leaving, and we're just like on a bad note. So Tommy calls. She asks me everything's good. I'm like, yup, everything's fine. All right, cool. I'll let you know when I'm done. I'm like, all right. Get out the phone, and he's just sitting there all like cheesed up, all happy because he has me at sea. He tells me, can we go talk in the car? I'm like, no, I can't leave the kids. He's like, okay, well, can I go use the restroom again? I was like, no. I'm pretty sure I like need a new pair of pants. And he like starts laughing. He's like, oh, you're just like, you're so strong. Like you've been through so much and like you're just so strong. And I'm like, it's like, oh, I couldn't be a girl. I couldn't be a girl. Like you, my sisters, like you guys are like so strong, and I just I couldn't. And I'm just like fuming from the inside because like in my head I'm just like going boom, boom, bing, bing, bah, like all these things, and I'm just having to put on a brave, you know, smile, like, yeah. So he asks me like, oh, before I leave, do you need anything? And I'm like, oh, like what? He's like, I don't know, do you need anything? You need me to go to the store? Do you need anything? So I tell him like, oh, you know what? Pads. Can you go and get me some pads? Like I'm going to need pads. Yeah, I can do that. I'm like, okay, cool. Before he leaves, do you have the money for the pads? I'm like, oh yeah. Because like you're so stupid, Lex, if you think that I'm going to pay for anything. Like you're so dumb. I was like, oh yeah. So I give him the money and he's like, okay, cool. I'll be back. We hug, all that I'm like, okay, thank you like so much for doing me this favor. Like, thank you. You're so awesome. You're so amazing. Like, I'm so blessed. I'm so loved. Like, thank you. He leaves. I go inside, talk to the kids for a little bit. He's gross. Why are we talking to him? And I'm having to like tell them like, oh no, like he's funny. He's just silly. No, he's gross. Like, they're just like, no, girl, he's gross. And I'm just like, no, he's not. Like, talking to them, you know. And I don't even dare to tell them like, don't tell your mom, because you're gonna tell them like, don't tell your mom, they're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna tell my mom. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna even like tell them anything. And if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. It is what it is. So like some time passed, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, where is he? I text him and he tells me that he had to go home because his mom needed him, and that he'll take it to me later. That what's the rush? Am I going somewhere? Like, he is constantly like flipping it, reversing it, flipping. I was like, oh no, I just might not be here later because I'm going to go to Wendover. What? Why didn't you say anything? Bitch, first of all, what are you talking about? We don't tell each other when we're doing stuff like that. Like, not all the time. It's like sometimes we do when we get into like that rhythm of it. But what are you talking about? Like 5 times out of 10, we're not telling each other that. So I get confused and I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't tell you. Well, yeah, we are going to later. He was like, oh, that's crazy, because my mom was talking about going there because there was going to be an event there. They sometimes have a few events and stuff. And he was like, she was thinking about going. Wouldn't that be cool if I do go? And I'm like, no, it wouldn't, because I wouldn't be able to spend time with you. And he was like, no, I'm gonna ask my mom. I don't know why, like, even though it wasn't going to happen, I got like so scared because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to perform, or oh my gosh, like I'm going to have to like entertain or like try to sneak out. Like, it's so exhausting to think like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do this and this, even though in reality, Alexis, you don't gotta do anything. You don't have to do anything, but it felt like I had to. I don't know how to explain it. It felt like I had to, even though it's like, no, you don't. I felt like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Like, it honestly felt like I had to. And it's like, no, you don't. But I was already stressing out. And I was like, oh my gosh. Why did you say anything? Why did you have to say? So I'm like all like annoyed, pissed off. Tommy messages me that she's not going to be back by 2. I have to tell the Peaches they're going to be running a little bit late. She's not going to be by 2. I messaged Mr. Peach. He says, I don't care. We're leaving at this time, Alexis. Make sure you're here. I don't know what you have to do. Make sure you're here. Oh, I hate when people do that. I hate it. Even when my husband tells me like, oh, I don't know what you're gonna do, babe, but like, you gotta figure it out. Don't tell me that. Like, it stresses me out. Even if he's like, oh, I'm not being literal. Like, are you sure? Are you sure about that? I think you're lying. But it just feels like so much like anxiety. I don't know how to explain it to y'all. Like, it just, and I'm telling him like, well, she says that she's busy. She's like an hour out. She doesn't know she's gonna be able to be here on time. He said, Alexis, figure it out. And you know what's funny, y'all? I homeschool my daughter. One of her new classmates, guess what their name is? Alexis. Woo! Y'all, when I tell you I read that little girl's name, and I heard the teacher say it, and I heard her dad say it, and I heard the mama say it, I was like, ain't no fucking way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Like, that is so crazy. Anyways, so I'm telling him, he's like, figure it out. Figure it out. Figure it out. So eventually he ends up calling me and he's like screaming through the phone that he hates to play these games. That did he not tell me that he is not going to move things around because things cost money? There's this, there's that. So I stress out to the point like I'm starting to whine cry. I hate being that over like stimulated where it's just like there's nothing I can do and they're like, figure it out. And it's just like so much pressure because it's just like, what do you want me to do? Like, honestly, what do you want me to do? So I get to the point where I'm like, Mr. Peach, I can't do anything, so I'm sorry. Sam's gonna have to babysit the kids because I can't go unless you want to wait. Like, you can wait. No me hablas así. Like, he's getting mad. Like, don't talk to me like that. Who do you think you are? You are not an adult. Do not talk to me that way. So I'm like, okay, well, here's Tommy's number if you want to call her so you guys can talk about it, but I don't know what to tell you. He's fuming, you guys. Like, he's screaming to the point I have to hold the phone like this because he's going off on me. Like, he's going off on me when he's like, Alexis, no, figure it out. I hate this stupid shit. I hate this. And like just getting really upset with me. And I'm just like, okay, well, like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to do. And he keeps like just telling me like, no, don't tell me those stupideces. Like, don't tell me that dumb shit. figure it out. And I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry. And I'm just, you know, telling him like, I can't. Like, I can't. And then I have Tommy telling me like, no, just tell him this. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I am telling him, he don't want to hear it. She's like, well, that's sorry for him. And I kind of get like a little snarky with her because I'm like, dude, like, why? Like, you knew. She's like, Alexis, I don't give a damn if he's late. I don't give a damn if he has to pay out of pocket. I don't get like, so she starts getting mad and I'm like, that's not cool. She's like, whose side are you on? So we're all just like fighting, and she's like telling me not to like have an attitude. If it's really that serious, you can leave. The kids can watch themselves. I'm like, Tommy, like, I hate when people like say some dumb that like, shut up, because like, you know, I'm not going to leave. Like, why do you say that? Is it because like you just want to say that and you think like, oh, this is really gonna get her? Are you dumb? Like, you just sound stupid. Like, honestly, that's just what it is. Like, you just sound dumb. It makes me so freaking mad. Like, oh. So Spice texts me not to call Tommy no more, that I'm stressing her out, that what's the big deal if they just go without me. And I tell her like, because like I lay there at night, I can't stay with Tommy. That's what the big deal is. And she's like, you'll be all right. Stop calling Tommy. And I'm like, okay. Because I didn't want her stressing out either, because what if this was something, you know, that needed like a lot of attention, and I'm over there stressing her out, she's over there fighting, and like things go left, and it's like, oh, it's because it's Alexis' fault. Like, she was the last person that texted her, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, like I stressed her the F out. My apologies. So me and the ex get back to texting, and he asks me, so what time are you gonna be there? And I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna even go anymore. I didn't even think what that was going to do. Okay, I did not. And you're probably like, what? I seen that a mile away. Well, I didn't. I didn't know what that was going to do. Like, oh, it set him off. Oh, so because I said I'm gonna go, and now you're not gonna go. Who were you gonna go with? Who were you gonna go see? Don't you think that's a little bit suspicious? Like, why are you playing these games? Like, going a mile a minute. I'm like, whoa. I'm trying to explain to him like, oh, we're supposed to go, but I'm watching the babies. I don't want to just leave them alone. Like, oh, that just sounds stupid. It sounds like you're making an excuse. And it does. But I'm like, no, like, this is it. This is what? No, you're acting suspicious. Goes off. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't know what to say. Then he gets mad that I'm not like replying back like enough, like, you know, sentences. Gets upset like, oh, because I caught you. And it's like, no, you didn't catch nothing at all. Like, what are you talking about? I'm just sitting there stressing out, going a mile a minute on my phone, texting him, texting Mr. Peach. Sam wants to get into it, saying that like, why do I do this? So, like, it's not her responsibility to watch her siblings. Yeah. That if I was going to do this from the jump, I should have just said something, and they could have probably found someone to cover. That like, why did I do this? And even though like I'm explaining to her like, I didn't do it, I don't know what you're talking about. You play too many games. Like, you got my parents stressed out. And I have to tell her like, to shut the f up. Like, you sound so dumb. Like, you sound so dumb. Like, you sound so dumb right now. And I tell her like, stop texting me. Like, you sound so dumb. Mr. Peach eventually messages me and asks me like, what's the update? So what time is she going to be here? And I tell him like, I don't know. She told me she's gonna be a bit late. I know what she said. I was like, did you call her? He's like, why in the f would I call her? I'm like, so you guys could talk about it, and she could maybe give you the time of when she's going to be here. He gets mad because he's like, that's so stupid. Why would I ask her that? And I'm like, why wouldn't you ask her that? God, like, that when she messages me a time to let him know, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, so are you gonna wait for me? And he tells me, when she messages you, let me know. And I'm like, okay. I don't know why it's so hard for you to be like, yeah, we'll wait for you, and like stress me out. Like, it's just, I get it, but then I don't. They just have me stressing. Like, literally, I'm just like stressing the whole time, and the ex is just like chewing me out. And I just tell him like, I don't have control over if I can go or not. He's like, no, I just find it funny that after I say it, I'm like, okay, I get it. I shouldn't have said anything. I'm just not gonna talk next time. Why you gotta be dramatic? Because honestly, that's what it feels. It feels like I'm just not gonna say nothing to nothing, because I'm just gonna irritate somebody. So eventually Tommy comes, and she looks so like relieved, like just like, okay, not even stressed, where like, you know how someone's like rushing, like, well, hurry up. Like, she just looks like just calm. Okay. And I'm like, can you take me? oh, I have to drop you off too. I was like, well, you did pick me up, so I thought like maybe you would have to, but let me just text him since it's literally on the way to Wendover. Oh, so they're fine? So they waited for you? So they waited for you? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, but you wanted to talk to me all kinds of crazy. They need you. You don't need them. And I'm just like, okay. Because even if she's right, I'm not going to sit there and have that type of attitude, because they could like pull my card and be like, all right, bet. Let's see. Let's see. I call Mr. Peach and I tell him that she's there. Oh, so all of you people just love to play these games. I'm like, excuse me? You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay. He's like, and stop telling me excuse me, you are the child. And I'm like, you're the adult. Don't finish my sentences. And I'm like, okay. Because he was getting pissed. And he's like, what time is she going to drop you off? Well, I didn't know if you wanted her to drop me off or if you just wanted to head here and pick me up since it's on the way. He stays quiet because I feel like he wanted to argue, but he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna pick you up because now I have to wait double the time, you know? So he says, be ready, be outside. I'm not gonna call you, I'm not gonna text you, be outside. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, who's you, bougie?
I know, they sent me the whole collection.
Oh, that's actually Sigma.
All of them. That's cool, huh?
Yeah.
The whole collection.
That's actually cool.
Right? So I get off the phone and I make sure to text Sam, can you please bring some pants? She says, why? And I said, so I'm comfortable since I'm not going to be packed. Well, you should have packed when I told you. And I said, I hear you. Can you please bring that? She said, I don't want to. And I said, all right. Me and Tommy are talking. Tommy's like, what? And I'm like, nothing. She's like, how long are you guys going to be there? And I said, I think a night or two. And she said, so are you packed? And I said, I didn't have time to pack. She said, why not? And I was like, because I told you about the phone situation and I just wasn't thinking clear. She's like, why didn't you pack the night before? And I said, I don't know. I was just like freaking out, bugging out on the whole situation. She's like, that's just excuses. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And so Spice tells me like, hey, I got some pants and I got a tank top if you want to borrow. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I go and I change. Spice comes and she tells me like, hey, I need to talk to you. I'm like, all right. She tells me that when she was going to throw out the garbage, supposedly, that she's seen that I was still bleeding kind of heavy. And I was like, yeah, and a little bit more. I think because I had too much sugar. She was like, all right, so let's just act stupid with each other real quick. And I was like, okay. She said, you're not supposed to be active for like a month. And I was like, okay. And she's like, because if you don't know who he's swimming with, what he's doing, and right now, it's very sensitive. And I'm like, you need to not swim for 4 weeks. Do you hear me? I'm like, mm-hmm. She said, don't put nothing in there. Don't clean with nothing in there. Just the outside. Do you hear me? I was like, mm-hmm. Because that's a lot. And I was like, sorry, I thought I wrapped it. Even you wrapping it, it's soaked. And I'm like, okay. Sorry, buddy. So then I get out. Tommy's sitting there. You have nerve. I just looked to the little boy and he's like, and I'm scared because I'm like, oh my God. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, you have nerve. And I was like, why or what? I'm thinking she's talking about him, right? No. She's like, so you still swimming? Even though that recently just happened? Whew. Sigh of relief. I was like, oh my God. So I was like, oh yeah, I don't, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know, Tommy. I honestly don't know. She takes me to her room. She gives me some medication. She's like, stop swimming. I know Spice said 4 weeks. Do 2 months. You hear me? No more swimming. And I'm like, aye, ma'am. So I try to time the pickup time perfectly, okay? Because I'm like, I'm not trying to irritate him at all. And even me texting Sam, I'm like, hey, can you let me know when you guys are a little bit closer? I'm not gonna do that. You should just be ready. He literally told you. I'm like, all right, bitch, remember that. Like, I don't know why all of a sudden now you're acting like this. No, because you left me. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't know why you always want to do that. Like, suck a fish. Like, I was so irritated. Like, why you gotta do all that? Like, why you gotta be like that? So I say my byes. Tommy tells me to like let her know if anything changes or if they're gonna act funky, just to let her know. I'm like, all right, cool, okay, bye. I go outside and I wait. 5 minutes pass and boom, they show up. I felt so cool that I timed it perfectly. Immediately, Mr. Peach asks me, why are my clothes changed? Oh, I had a little accident with the kids, like quick, right? And he's like, Baltimore is like, no tienes vergüenza? Like, you're not embarrassed? And I was like, why would I be embarrassed? And I'm like, okay. So I just get in the car. The kids are all excited. Munchkin's looking at me. Immediately starts holding my hand. And I'm like, oh. So I'm holding his hand. And Mr. Peach is just like looking at me and Munchkin. And he starts to shake his head. Oh my gosh, you guys. It was giving me so much anxiety. I'm like, why are you shaking your head? Because you better not take it out on Munchkin. Because I swear, we're going to have a problem. The drive is like 2 hours and 30 minutes because we make stops. The kids like to munch, walk around, stretch, all that. Those 2 hours and 30 minutes, it felt like Mr. Peach was just like burning his eyes into my soul. I was just like, dude, like what in the heck? And the whole time, the ex is just like messaging me and like super annoyed with me, like why are you doing this? Why? And it's like because he was guilty of something. Okay, he was guilty. So we stop at a gas station. Mr. Peach and I are kind of by like the hot dogs. He asks me like, oh, do you want one? I love hot dogs. If you don't know, I love a good hot dog. So I'm like, oh yeah, we're getting the hot dogs. And then he asks me like, so why are you on your phone the whole time? And I'm like, oh, I didn't know I was. Oh, you didn't know you were on your phone the whole time? And I'm like, no, like, I didn't think I was too much. Oh, now it's, oh, too much. And I'm like, okay, dude. And I already know where this is headed. I already know because I'm a bruja. I already knew where it was already headed. It was going to be like, give me your phone. And I was like, so how are we going to have this, like, argument? We used to be best buddies. So I'm like, oh, I'm not. And he's like, no, you're always on your phone. I swear. It's like you need to get it taken from you. And I'm like, again, to be a smart ass. And he's like, Alexis, give me your phone. And I was like, why? And he's like, give me your phone. I'm like, why? He's like, because I'm your guardian. I was like, okay, why do you keep saying that? And he's like, what? I'm like, why do you keep saying you're my guardian? He's like, because I am. And I was like, he's like, am I not? Or is it only out of convenience when you need it? And I was like, okay. So I'm about to hand him my phone. Baltimore's right there. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, he told me to give him my phone. She's like, gay? Why? So she asks him. And he's like, no. I don't like when I'm doing something. We can talk. We don't got to talk in front of the kids. Like, he doesn't want her to say anything in front of the kids to me. And she's like, what? Like, asking him, like, what? Like, even she's like, this, what are you doing? So he takes my phone and he just puts it in his pocket. Now, I'm all nervous because I'm like, he's just going to go through it and we're going to fight because he's going to see how I'm just, like, begging the ex. And it's just going to be so embarrassing. Like, I already know the conversation we're going to have. Like, I already know like what I'm doing wrong. We all get back in the car. We start to head out. As we're heading out, I get a phone call and it's from my mom. And I could see it just ringing and ringing. And I tell him like, can I have my phone? Baltimore grabs it, passes it to me. I answer it. It was my mom. She asks me like, how come you were taking a minute to grab your phone? I tell her like, oh, Mr. Peach had it. Why does Mr. Peach had it? I'm like, I don't know. He just took my phone. He said I'm on it too much. And she said, tell him not to be taking your phone. It's your phone and he has no right taking away your phone. And I'm like, okay, mom, I'll tell him. So I keep my phone and he tells me like, I bet like to give it back to him. And I'm like, my mom says that you can't take my phone and I gotta hold on to my phone, and if it's gonna be a problem that we can call her. And he was like, ¿Qué? And Baltimore is like looking at him like, yeah, that like I'm like, my mom's not saying anything crazy. He's like, oh, like it's so hard, like no wonder why you don't listen to like any rules and you just do whatever you want because your mom just lets you do whatever. Like, he's like pissed off. And I'm just like, dude, like what the heck is up? Like, you're being weird. We get there and the lady tells him that check is not until 30 more minutes. He gets upset, like, oh, we can't check in earlier. She's like, no, it's in 30 minutes. You guys can go here, whatever, telling us like the areas. He's like, I know my way around here. All pissed off. And it's like, okay, dude. So we go down to Starbucks and the kids get to pick out pastry and he is super annoyed. Me and Sam don't get one. I don't know, because we just didn't want one. Mr. Peach is like so annoyed. Like, why didn't you guys get one? Why are you guys acting up? And we're just like, damn, dude, like you're just like on 100. Like on 100, just chill out. So Baltimore's telling him like, let's just go and play a little bit. The kids can just like wait right here until we get checked in. We're just chilling right there, just waiting. And Sam asks me like, what is her dad's deal? I'm like, dude, why are you asking me? Like, why would I know? I don't know. I just feel like he's just like on one. Like, did you do something? I'm like, no, your dad's weird. Why is he weird? I'm like, what do you mean? You literally just said even he's acting weird. Like, why are you trying to act like you're not saying something? Like, I'm just agreeing. So we kind of are just like getting snarky with each other. I look up, Munchkin is missing, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I start screaming his name, trying to look for him. I can't find him. Sam goes onto a full panic mode. I go onto a full panic mode. We're looking for him. We can't find him for a hot minute, y'all. Like, I was like flipping out, like about to cry. Mr. Peach comes over and he was like, what's going on? We're like, we can't find Munchkin. He gets pissed off and he's like, oh my god, you guys can't do anything right. We're looking around, and we finally find him. He's like in the corner playing with like some other little boys. He snatches him up. We were calling you. Starts getting really crazy. One of the parents say, well, then you should have been watching him. And he was like, my daughters were supposed to be watching them while I go and did something. He's like, and you're the parent. Now, that made me chuckle because what has he been telling me nonstop? I'm the adult. You're the child. I'm an adult. You're the child. So it had me laughing. He looks back at me, gives me the ugliest look ever. We go, we check it in the rooms. He's like pissed off. He's like being super cold to Munchkin. Like, he don't want to hear him. He don't want to like anything. He's like, Dad, look at this. Look at me. He's just like, like, don't talk to me. Like, how could you embarrass me like that? You know, acting like a little bitch. So I'm keeping a Munchkin tied to me because I'm like, oh my god, I don't want him to go off on him and just like be mean to him for like no freaking reason. Now, Sam is all giggly, ha 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 on her phone, and I'm just watching her. I'm just watching her because I'm like, I want the attention to be on her because I want him to give her the same energy that he gave me. So I'm just watching her and she's just like on her phone, and eventually it catches his attention. He's like, who are you talking to? And she's like, don't worry about it. And he's like, give me the he says. Like, what did you tell me? I asked you, who are you talking to? My mom. He's like, oh, and your mom, what is she saying? That's so funny. And she goes that she's coming down. He's like, she didn't tell me anything. She goes, I don't have to tell you when my mom's coming down. And he's like, what? Give me your phone. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. She goes crazy. She's like, just jams it in her breasts and just like holding it. And he's just like, and tells her like, give it to me now. Give it to me. He calls her mom. He's like, have you been messaging her? She's like, no, I haven't been messaging her. And he's like, she's such a mentirosa. She's such a liar. She's saying that she's messaging you right now. She's like, nope, she's not messaging me. And he's like, I'm going to take her phone. She said, take her phone. So then eventually, after a lot of struggling, a lot of like, he grabs her phone and he's like, who are you talking to? She says, nobody. She won't give him the passcode to the phone. And he's like, well, you're not going to get this back at all. So they leave and I'm just like looking at her. She's like, is that why you just kept staring at me? Is that why you just kept staring at me? You wanted him to tell me something. You wanted him to tell me something. And I said, So then I'm sitting down with the kids and watching the movie. And she's like, let me see your phone. I said, for what? She said, let me see your phone. I said, for what? And she was like, because I need to make a phone call. And I was like, And so then I reiterate what the hell she had told me when I had asked her, let me see your phone. Remember I had asked her, like, let me see your phone. And she's like, for what? And she had me feeling like I was crazy. Give me your phone. I need to make a phone call. To what number? Just give me your phone. She's like, okay, but I just want to know who you're going to call. Give me your phone, Sam. She's like, no. Yeah. So funny how it's your turn. She keeps just bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. And Munchkin's like, Alexis, please let her see your phone so we can watch the movie. And I was like, sorry, baby, I'm not going to. She uses the hotel phone and she's like trying to, I guess, remember the number. So she starts getting mad at me. She's like, why can't I just see your phone? Like, I know you have the number. I know you have the number. And I was like, who are you calling? Like, who are you trying to talk to? Why do I always have to give you answers? And I'm like, because you're going to use my phone. And just how I needed to use your phone and how you wanted to be funky, I'm giving you the same back. So she starts getting upset and she's like, God, you're so annoying. You're so annoying. So we're kind of like just bickering back and forth. And then she's like, I'll be back. And I'm like, you can't leave. She's like, my dad didn't say I couldn't leave. I was like, yeah, it's one of those things. Like, he doesn't have to say it. I just know you can't leave. So I text Mr. Peach that she left and he says, why didn't you stop her? And I said, what do you mean? I told her she couldn't go. And he said, that's all? Yes. He tells me she better be back in that room before I get back or else. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with that? Like, honestly, what do you want me to do with that? And it's like, okay, Lex, maybe he was just venting, like, and just saying it, like, something out loud. But no, it was like way too much where it's like, it gave me anxiety. And it's like, okay, it's not his fault that it gave you so much anxiety. And it's like, yes, it is, because he's saying it. So I'm not going to leave the kids. I'm not going to leave the kids. Like, I don't care. She wanted to leave out there. She wanted to be a little hoe. Fine. Bye. So Mr. Peach comes back and he's like yelling at me, where is she? I hate that if it's not you, it's her. And I'm literally like, I don't know. We're even to the point where the kids are like, Dad, it's not Alexis's fault. And he's all, shut up. Like, he's just super mad that he wanted to come on this little mini trip, and instead of him having fun and getting to relax, that he's over here stressing out because she's probably doing God knows what. And he's just like fuming. He's like, now I gotta waste time and go and find her. And I'm just like, okay. And I'm like, well, I don't know where she could be at. Like, she was using the phone so she can call some numbers. Like, I don't know who she was calling. He's like, oh my God, you know how stressful this is? And like, since the beginning, since the morning, it's just been ching, 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 ching. And I'm just like, okay. So he tells me to get the kids ready, that we are going to go downstairs so that we can go to the pool. And I'm like, okay. So I'm getting the kids ready. We're gonna go to the pool. I don't have anything, right? I don't have anything. So as we're walking out, we see another bunch of like family that we have previously seen, like at barbecues and stuff like that. Like, hey Alexis. And I'm like, hey. And they're like, oh, you're not gonna get in? And I'm like, no. Munchkin wants to go and say, she didn't bring her bag. She doesn't have anything. My dad didn't let her. He says, my dad didn't let her. The mom looks at me and she goes, oh sweetie, if you have forgot your bag, I have an extra. And I'm like, oh okay, can I use that? And she goes, yes, of course. So she goes to her room. We're waiting right there. Mr. Peach comes up again, and that was quick. I wonder if he found her. And he was like, oh, what are you guys doing? And I tell him like, oh, Mrs. Luxury told me that I could use one of her swimsuits that she brought. And he's like, oh, thank you so much, to her. He pulls me in. Oh my gosh, you're just embarrassing me. Like, he is just like fuming. And I'm just like, damn dude, chill. She gives me the bathing suit. She's like, here you go, Mihan. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And then she's like telling me like, oh, like always come prepared, gives me a whole speech. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, it's just been like a crazy morning, afternoon, like it's just been nuts. So she asks me like, oh, where's Sam? And I'm like, oh, she's around here somewhere, I don't know where she's at. So she's like, oh, do you want to walk down together? I'm like, yeah, sure. So we're both walking down. She has her bunch, I have my bunch, walking down. We go to the pool, we have a good time, we're swimming, we're having fun. I'm so glad I bumped into the mom. She gave me the bathing suit. I was like, oh my gosh, gracias a Dios, because I would have been like screaming at them like, hey, don't do this, hey, don't do that, hey, don't do that. I probably would have had to get in like even with my clothes, because they give me so much anxiety. How they're like, watch this trick, or they want to be playing dead in the pool. Why do you want to play dead in the pool? Like, why do you want to raise my anxiety? And then they want to hold on to the ledge and be like, no, I'm gonna hold on, and then slip, and then they go too far. It's a whole thing. But we had fun. So a couple of hours passed by. Mr. Peach has been checking in here and there, and I'm like, damn, I have still not seen Sam. Like, so Mr. Peach comes by and he tells me like, oh, take the kids up, get showered so that we can go to dinner. And I'm like, okay, have you seen Sam? Don't ask me questions, don't ask me questions. Like, pissed off. Now I don't know if he didn't see Luxury, but she was in the pool and she kind of just looks at me and waits till he walks away. He's just like so laser focused on like cussing me out and being a dick to me that he doesn't even see Luxury. Because if he would have seen Luxury, he would have changed his tune. So he leaves and Luxury comes up to me and she's like, "Todo bien, mija?" I'm like, yeah, everything's good. He's just a little stressed out because we can't find Sam. She's like, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And she tells me, so like, are you gonna go up so we can go up together so that, you know, you're not alone? And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Angels, guardian angels. So I tell her that I'll give her her bathing suit once we get back home. I'm like, or if you want, I can wash it now in the sink. She's like, no, mija, está bien, keep it. And I'm like, okay. Those gestures have always been nice to me when they're like, oh no, it's okay if I can keep it. I'm like, why? Because I wore it? Because I wore it, you know, I don't know. Or is it because I look poor? I'm like thankful, but then I'm like, you know what I mean? So we go upstairs and I'm like hoping to see Sam. I'm like, damn, like I hope I see her. Like, I have to like I don't know. I just feel like, okay, is this where she gets kidnapped? Is this where she gets lost? Like, there's only so many places you can go in this hotel. Like, I'm just like, he had to have found her. Like, ain't no way. He had to have found her. And it's just like, this area always has like construction in this like casino. So I'm just like, girl, there's some places. I know some places. So I'm like, okay, maybe when the kids go down, I can go and look for her. Like, I'm just like thinking, you know, I'm just like, hopefully when we go up there, she's there. So I say bye to Luxury. She tells me like, oh, are you gonna go down to dinner? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm like who else is here? She's like, oh, there's like, you know, like so and so. I'm like, oh dang, like everyone just getting together. So I guess there was like an event happening. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, he had mentioned something and she was like, yeah, maybe we'll see me here. I'm like, oh, okay. So then we get in there and I still don't see Sam, and I'm like, oh my god. So I shower the kids, get them all ready, and you know, get them all situated. I hang up my swimsuit that luxury just gave me. But you know, shampooed it, cleaned it, all that, hung it up so that it can air dry everything. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, oh. So I'm like telling Munchkin stuff. I'm like, I don't like, where do you think Sam's at? You know, let's figure this out together. You know, back moment. And he's like, call her. I'm like, oh yeah, duh. Why haven't I thought of calling her? So then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna call. Mr. Peach text comes in. He says, be ready. We're going to go to dinner. 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, cool. So then I dial the number again and I'm going to call, and Munchkin just looks at me like that. And I'm like, what? And the phone's still ringing, and we hear it ringing in the other side. So we hear it in the other room. The other room is connected to our room. It's a conjoined room. I hear it. I'm like, ain't no way. So me and the kids were like looking around for Sam's phone because I'm like, there's no way. And I hear Mr. Peach say, hello? And I'm gonna end it there. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys in my next story time. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. I hope 2025 is going very well so far. I love you guys so much. Besos a todos. And I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. Let's begin.